Welcome to Behind the Scenes of the Theater. While I wish I could have presented this presentation in an actual theater, just as in real showbiz, you need to learn how to be flexible and the show must go on. This behind me is actually a dance studio, and while the actual show is performed on a stage, much of the choreography and staging is done in rooms similar to this. Furthermore, this room is just one part that goes into creating an amazing show, which gives the people the chance to be transported into their imaginations and enjoy the art of theater. For me, this has been one place that I have been able to thrive, whether it be through plays, musicals, or other performances. However, today is not about me, and today I will actually be discussing the amazing art of musical theater. So let's dive right in. First, I'm going to talk about the history of musical theater. Musical theater today gets many of its characteristics which emerged during the early days of European theater. However, it also has ties to African and Asian traditions. Musical theater mixes together all of the styles of normal theater, which contain opera, which is generally a more serious themed. However, it also can have other themes as well, don't get me wrong. However, musical theater also contains humor and allows the actor to create a spectacle on the stage, which everybody enjoys that, and that's the reason we go to the theater. So, next, I'm going to talk about the types of musical theater. So first, we have book musicals, which is defined as a performance where musical numbers and dances are fully integrated into a proper narrative with defined dramatic goals. Next, we have jukebox musicals, which is a musical which is created using pre-existing songs. These songs are put together to create a story. And then next we have revue musicals, which are very popular. And these are a type of musical theater which combines singing, dancing, music, and sketches. The content of a revue is normally linked together by a common theme, however. Next, we have concept musicals, which is a musical where a theme, metaphor, or concept is just as important as the overall reaching plot and featured songs. And then last but certainly not least, we have rock musicals, which are productions which use more modern styles of music to tell the story. For an example of this is Hamilton, which came about in 2016 on Broadway and became very popular. So I have a clip from one of the songs in Hamilton called Guns and Ships. You may have heard it, but if you would like to give a listen.
How does a ragtag volunteer army in need of a shower somehow defeat a global superpower? How do we emerge victorious from the quagmire, leave the battlefield waving Betsy Ross's flag higher? Yo, turns out we have a secret weapon, an immigrant you know and love who's unafraid to step in. He's constantly confusing, confounding the British henchmen. Everyone give it up for America's favorite fighting French.
We rendezvous with Rochambeau, consolidate their gifts.
We can end this war at Yorktown, cut them off at sea, but for this to succeed, there is someone else we need.
I know.
He knows what to do when it...
All right, so that was a clip from Hamilton written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and as I said earlier, had gotten very popular on Broadway and is still very popular and actually is now on Disney+. So next, I'm going to be talking about the history of Broadway and the musical theater in the United States. So as many people believe, Broadway is only in New York City, and this is actually a misinterpretation and not actually true. There is different types of Broadway. So first there is Broadway in just other cities, which there is some, for example, in Chicago, which I have actually been able to go see some Broadway in Chicago, which I believe they're just as good. And then also there is traveling Broadway, which here at Northwest Florida State College, we actually house some traveling Broadway theaters occasionally throughout the year, which are just an amazing opportunity to stay in your own hometown and see just amazing Broadway shows. And so Broadway was originally invented by Walter Murray and Thomas Keane, whose original vision was to put on Shakespearean plays long after Shakespeare was popular. And so these then later transformed into what we know today, Broadway, where you can see musicals on stage. And so the term Broadway is actually very simple. A Broadway theater houses 500 or more seats in the theater. However, then you can also have off-Broadway, which holds 499 to 99 seats. So they can get pretty small theaters. And so throughout all of these, there is many shows that have been performed. And for example, one is Lion King, which as you can see from my shirt, Lion King has been very popular throughout the years. And it has actually been performed for 27 years. It has been being performed through traveling companies in cities other than New York and in New York City itself. And so there is many musicals that people have been able to go see, just like Hamilton and Lion King. And so in conclusion, today we talked about musical theater, and I told you about the history of musical theater. I discussed the types of musical theater that there are, and then I discussed the history of musical theater and Broadway in the United States. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you for listening.